Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Deshambre, another episode where we break down things geeky. And the title of this episode is The Falcon Vs The Pharaoh. And what we want to do is some compare and contrast narratives. We want to look at what Sam Wilson, aka the Falcon, is doing, and we want to compare that to a story in the biblical text about Moses and what he's doing. So those are the two. Those are the two sources we're using. We're using MCU canon, and we're using biblical canon. So, and when we're only, we're focusing on the first couple of episodes because I think 3 episodes have come out so far. If by the time this video comes out, so we want to do this with 5 points. We want to point out 5 things that are interesting. Get into it. Hopefully you get something out of it. All right. Number one, Sam doesn't feel worthy. He doesn't feel worthy, right? Steve calls Sam. He calls him. Now let's look at this. Steve Rogers, aka Captain America, saw something in Sam that led him to pass the mantle to him, the shield, or in French, the bouclier. So he wants to pass the mantle to him. And at the end of the movie Endgame, you'll need to go see it if you haven't, Steve passes the mantle to Sam and he asks him, how does it feel? Sam's holding it and stuff. And he says, it feels like someone else's. So we already see this hesitation. Sam don't want that weight. He's like, I know you're giving it to me, Steve, you my boy, but I don't know. So Steve calls Sam. So let's jump into the biblical text. God calls Moses. God calls Moses. And we'll pick up in Exodus 3:10 and 11. And it says, come, I will send you to Pharaoh that you may bring my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. But Moses said to God, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the children of Israel out of Egypt? You see some parallels. He's doing the same thing Sam's doing. He's like, first of all, who am I, God? This is someone else's. This isn't mine. Give the mantle to someone else. I can't hold it. So we see Steve calls Sam, God calls Moses. Now, my question to you, are you called? Right? Are you called? And I believe you are. But maybe that's not where you're at. Maybe you're thinking this God stuff is for religious people. Hey, maybe you're right, but I think to a greater extent, this God stuff, this cosmic stuff is for you and me, because we are made in the image of God who is cosmic. We are made for a special call. So I think you are called. We are deemed worthy in God's eyes based on the fact that we have been created. We are fearfully and wonderfully made. He's trying to pass his love to us. Do we accept it? He's trying to pass it to us. Do we take the mantle? If you are a human, you are being called by your creator. Do you take it? Or are you scrambling around like Sam and Moses with it? Okay, point number 2. Sam doesn't have all the answers. The big thing over his head is, but what if they ask? Okay, what if they ask what? But see, that's where Sam's at. So Sam does not want to deal with any of that noise. He feels unworthy and does not want to compound the issue. If he tells people that Steve legitimately gave him the shield, there's going to be a lot of speculation. Ironically, in the Winter Soldier movie, Agent Hill asked Cap, who is this guy? Y'all remember the episode when they arrested Sam, Steve, and Widow, and they were being transported, but Agent Hill was undercover and she rescued them. And after she got done rescuing them, she's like, yo, who's this guy? So Sam's already carrying this stigma of, man, hey, people don't really recognize me as that dude. Who am I? So Once again, Sam don't want to carry that weight. That's a lot of weight. So jumping back to Moses. So if Sam, the thing over his head is, but what if they ask? So the thing that's over Moses' head is, but what do I say if? What do I say if? God called Moses, yo, go to the people, go rescue my people. So Exodus 3:13. Then Moses said to God, indeed, when I come to the children of Israel and say to them, the God of your fathers has sent me, and they say to me, what is his name? What shall I say to them? He's preoccupied with questions and worry. Man, I'm not to do this when I have the answers. So Moses is consumed by what the people might say. And like, oh, who is this guy? Who is this guy? Quick Sam note. If Sam did what Stark did in Iron Man 1, he feared they would question his legitimacy. When Stark in Iron Man 1, I am Iron Man. No one's sitting there like, man, this guy ain't real. But with Sam, he's like, if I do something like that, it's a whole different ballgame. All right. All right. Point number 3. We're trying to move here. We're trying to move. Sam Wilson is like, they ain't gonna believe me. They ain't gonna believe in me. Not me. The people can't visualize me as Captain America, so I can't take on that call. I can't take that mantle, man. I'm sorry, not me. So we go down, we go back to Moses. Moses rocking the same way, not me. so Exodus 4:1, then Moses answered and said, but suppose they will not believe me or listen to my voice. Suppose they say the Lord has not appeared to you. Oh man. So he's scared that, okay, you giving me this call, I take this mantle, I tell people that you sent me. I'm afraid they're going to say, God didn't call you. So the same thing's rocking out with Sam. Steve didn't really give you that shield. Matter of fact, where is he? Is he on the moon? So we got not me, and then to us. Let's look at us. Why me? Why would God call me? Why would a mantle be passed down to me? Some of you might even ask this question. Why would God send anyone to help me? Maybe some of you guys right now, you feel down or depressed or in some type of situation. You're like, why in the world would a rescue team come for me? Well, I'll say this. God, he loves you, and you are one of his imagers that can walk in newness and light. Let me say it again. You are an imager that can walk in newness and light. Do you want it? He is offering it. All right. Point 4. Sam feels he isn't a leader of people. You're like, right now, you're like, man, this thing is wrecking me. I'm not a leader of people. So once again, he's working under this thought. Okay, some truth, but that's no excuse. Or it might be true about some of these things, but that's no excuse for you rejecting the mantle. Maybe Sam doesn't want to recognize his leadership skills. He said he got into the superhero business because of Steve. Steve inspired him, so he felt like, okay, I can do this. I can help him. I can support him. And then his speech at the museum where he gave up the shield, he said, we need new heroes that are engineered for the time, paraphrasing. It is true that we need heroes, but it's wrong of him to leave himself out of the discussion and the battle. Right? Okay. So let's go to Moses. Okay, I got some rattling these papers here. Sorry about that. Some truth, but no excuse. So Exodus 4:10. Then Moses said to the Lord, oh my Lord, I am not eloquent neither before nor since you have spoken to your servant, but I am slow of speech and slow of tongue. Now that may have been true of Moses, but someone greater than him was giving him the power to complete the mission. Hmm. Let me say this: our limits as human beings qualify us. Because, like I said, we got Moses and Sam saying, okay, I can't because of various reasons. But let me say this to you, whoever's listening. We are all leaders. Someone looks up to us. So it is not that strange that you have leadership qualities. Now, all of our qualities don't look the same. Um, Ironically, leadership doesn't always require someone being vocal. We always think of you got to be vocal. No, you don't have to be vocal. You may lead in art or dance or any number of geeky things you enjoy. I mean, look at me. Just remember, God calls you to his love, and in that you can change things. Sam Wilson was in a position to be able to change some things. Moses is in a position to be able to change some things. You and me are in a position to change some things. Like I said, we are imagers of God. Five, final point, then I'm out your hair. Sam feels flat out unqualified. I can't do this, man. I'm unqualified. So he's a soldier. So he's like, I'm staying in position. I'm staying in this position. In the first episode of The Falcon and Winter Soldier, Rhodey reminded him of his qualifications. Steve gave you that shield, man. So Sam didn't think anyone was qualified. And so he thought the shield should stay in the museum. Only Steve is qualified. I said, only Steve. But remember, Sam told Nick Fury he does whatever Steve does, but slower. So in his mind, he's the slower one. I can't get into the fast lane like Steve. I don't have the super soldier serum. I'm the slower one. So I'm going to maintain my support position. Don't give me this leadership position. So he's trying to stay in position. Then we get back to Moses. Moses' position is, this is my position. Exodus 4:13 says, but he said, oh my Lord, please send by the hand of whomever else you may send. In other words, anybody is better than me, God. You can't send old Moses. You can't send me. Anybody's better than me. So you got Sam staying in his position. Moses saying, this is my position. You and I can get in position, can get in our real position if we want it or if you want to. Listen, some religious group or leader may have told you how unqualified you are, or perhaps that you've always felt that way. But let me say, no, 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 no. Don't accept that. Reject that. That isn't true. Like we said, you're made in the image of God. You were created for sacred spaces. The God of Scripture is calling you. He loves you, and because he loves you, he is calling you. Now, to close up, hopefully in these, because I think we're at episode 3 right now. Hopefully in these last episodes, Sam does what he needs to do. Go get the mantle, accept your call, hopefully get some super soldier serum to add on to the loveliness. But greater than that, I hope you receive God's call for you. to receive his love, to accept him, and to walk in his call. All right, guys, man, it's been a pleasure doing this video. Please like and subscribe, leave a comment, and we'll see you next time. Peace.